You have some very, very bad people in the caravan. You have some very tough criminal elements within the caravan. But I will seal off the border before they come into this country, and I'll bring out our military, not our reserves. I'll bring out our military.
That's the president making his message clear as that caravan of migrants grows to an estimated 7,200 at this hour.
So what do you think? Is it time for the military to get involved? Let's ask our U.S. Army veteran and Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. Pete, you served our country. What do you think?
Well, I served our country. I never served at the border. But I think in this particular case, it will be time to deploy the military. I believe so, because we haven't changed our immigration policies. We don't have a wall. Catch and release still in effect. We're not stopping them before they come to the border. We don't have the ability to really deal with this. And we were talking to folks on the border yesterday on the weekend show. They said we're utterly unprepared for this. We're doing the best we can with what we have, but crossings are still up. And with this caravan coming, we're not ready.
Yeah, you're not ready, but by law, if they cross, there's certain things that they are entitled to. They're going to get their time in front of a judge. They're going to be held by about 20 days. So it doesn't matter if the Army's there. Somehow we got to get on the other side of the border to stop it.
Because the laws are, as the president calls them, dumb. They don't make sense. They don't protect our sovereignty. That's where you have to go back to Congress and say, it's about time we actually do something about it. A wall is part of saying you don't get to come into our country unless you prove that you're a refugee. So go to a port of entry, claim asylum, you'll get your day in court, we'll determine whether it's valid or not. But you got the president of Guatemala saying to a local newspaper down there just last week, they caught over 100 ISIS fighters in Guatemala trying to could have used this caravan or other processes. He talked to their local newspaper. We don't know. It hasn't been verified. But even one poison pill is too many in a caravan like that.
But what about the fact that the president of Mexico said, we're going to stop them, we're going to process them, and they can apply for asylum in our country? And they go, and they've had cops in riot gear in Mexico stopping people, but at the same time, you know, they just walk around.
See if the caravan keeps growing.
Right.
They jump into the river into so-called makeshift rafts. Have you ever tried to make a raft? You can't. There's clearly a concerted effort to help these people, and the caravan's grown from 5,000 now to 7,000. They're going to make their way to the border. They want that confrontation. These countries want that political statement and showdown.
John Bolton's in Moscow. He's going to be speaking with Vladimir Putin and others, excuse me, his counterpart Lavrov or the foreign secretary about getting out of the nuclear deal signed in the 1980s. They've been violating it. We're pulling out.
Yeah.
Do you think there's some play there in these negotiations, or is it just an announcement?
We'll see how it unfolds, but I think treaties are only as good as compliance and context. And if the Russians aren't complying, and we are, then we're losing. And the context of when we signed that treaty was the Cold War. U.S. and the USSR, the two nuclear superpowers. Right. Since then, who's emerged? China. Right. China now has this technology, and they're on the scene, and we don't. So I think we're rethinking it through an America First lens.
Are we being tough enough? Because critics are saying that the president hasn't been tough enough on Russia. You agree with that?
I think that's totally opposite of the reality on the ground. We've taken the strong stances on Russia.
Yeah. We're living by the law. They're not.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks,
Pete, thank you very much.